we are going to compose a melody with antecedent and consequent phrases. To make it interesting, I'm also going to add a contrasting section in between the antecedent and consequent phrases. First, it's helpful when we're beginning composing to arrange the music in the measures that we need. So first, we're going to use our treble clef cymbal. We're going to be 4/4 time. You need the time signature only on the first line, but we will need treble clef on our other lines. So I'm going to start off with just 3 of them, 3 lines, and I'm going to add the bar lines. Make sure you put a bar line after the second measure of each line when you're composing. We always end with a bar line on the measures. You don't need one at the beginning, but you do need one at the end. So with our melodies, our antecedent and consequent phrases, for now I'm going to give you some guidelines as far as which pitches you need to begin upon, either the first or third note of the scale. In this case, I'm going to start in C major on the first note, C. I'm not going to leave it as a whole note, but I'm going to give the pitch first. When I end a antecedent phrase, before the consequent phrase, I want to end on a certain note. In this case, I'll give you pitches maybe 2 or 5. I'm going to end on 2, which would be the note D. Now, for our composing purposes, we're going to keep the first measures identical between the antecedent and consequent phrases. So I'm going to start on C, but when I end, I'm going to end on C. So we have my layout for that. So then I'm going to take in color for antecedent. Obviously, you could experiment on an instrument in order to figure out what melody notes you would like. In this case, I'm just going to write out an example for our purposes. And you can use any of the rhythms that you feel comfortable with. I'm just going to write out a few that I think will sound all right. So we have my first measure, and now the second measure. Remember, I'm going to end on a D, so I need to do something with my melody to end up on the note D. End it with a quarter note. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats, bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats, bar line. Good. Remember, the first measures of the antecedent and consequent phrases are going to be identical. So all I have to do is copy the first measure into measure 3, and that will give me my answer. Now, the tricky part over here is that we need to change the last note to this. And so we could copy some of it. In this case, I'm going to copy the rhythm, but I'm going to put in some different notes. So I have, the first note will be the same. Second note, the second beat here will be different notes. And now I have my antecedent and consequent phrases. I started on 1, I ended on 2. I started on 1, copying, and ended on 1. Now this you could label as your A section. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to give a contrasting B section. In this case, just a different idea. And so let me just do a few notes here. And in this case, I think for balance purposes, I'm going to repeat those 2 measures and turn them into 4 by copying exactly. Remember, when you end a line, bar line, new line. This is not the first line of music, so I do not need my time signature. It's already there. So then I will copy these notes again out. for us to use on our melody. Now, for my melody here, it doesn't really sound ended if you listen to the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I would have it go back to the beginning and play again. And this is a special type of repeat. We're going to do D, C, da capo, go back to the beginning, al fine, which means go back to the beginning and play until fine, or the finish. And I'm going to write fine right here. Since that's my ending, I'm going to turn it into a double bar. And now we have my composition. When it's performed, it'll be A, then B, then back to A. Antecedent phrase, consequent phrase.